When I was 15.
Every morning. I love it.
But
But
are
I
you
have,
gaúcho?
huh?
Are you gaúcho?
I am Paranaense, but I have some background. My grandfather was Gaúcho.
See? It's pretty good. And I think now I found my right position.
Yeah, it, understand because
No, what was it called?
chimarrão. If you type yerba mate,
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Are you cursing at me? Is this a curse?
YERBA, yerba,
Yeah.
YERBA.
But depends on who you are. And if you live in Texas, right?
Yeah, Texas.
No, don't try.
Texas.
No,
Yeah,
too hot. No.
No.
I prefer
You know,
when it's cold.
The true gaúcho drinks chimarrão during the winter, during the spring, during the summer,
Bro,
all year long.
this
Doesn't
true.
matter how hot it is.
That's why
So-
I'm from Brazil.
So, Jeremy, if you
Yes.
oh, okay. So if you don't understand,
I
so
don't.
we were talking about traditional tea or drink that we have in Brazil. It's a hot tea, and it's a green tea actually. And
Okay.
it's for me, it's delicious, but it's kind of it has a different taste, so it's very strong, and not everybody likes. But anyway, I see you started the live stream
Yes.
without
Joe.
telling me again.
Oh,
So
I'm
on,
sneaking
man.
up on you. And our wonderful guests who are tuning in live, they even got a hint of the beautiful voice from a majestic, I'm looking at him now and he almost looks like a unicorn. Like he's got this radiant glow about him. I'm so excited, but I don't want to take away your intro, Joe. So we got
No,
another
so-
guest. Yes, please.
yeah, so
please.
let's roll the drums.
Okay. Oh, boom! Welcome,
Yeah.
Rodrigo.
So there it is, Rodrigo. How are you, man?
Thank you. I'm good, guys. Really excited to talk to you.
Nice.
Oh man,
Same.
I've been looking for this for quite some time. You know, we were talking on the side, and we met, by lucky on some WhatsApp group, and then I saw you have your own podcast. It's a Brazilian name, but I know you are working on the Canadian version, the English version.
Yeah.
So in Portuguese, they call Carreiras no Canadá, and in English is Canada Jobs, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so it's a very successful podcast where he brings people that came to Canada and it's living here, working here, and then they go through the history of those folks and how they got there.
Wow.
But before anything, Rodrigo, why don't you introduce yourself? Give our folks some context, who you are, what you do, and where you live, what you eat, what you drink.
Love it.
Yeah, first of all, guys, thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure to talk to you. I gotta summarize, right? Because I do lots of stuff. I work with compliance in the manufacturing industry. I passionate improve the process. I 16 months black belt as soon as a project manager. I'm also a musician. I have my bands, my projects. I'm also a podcaster. We have this podcast in Portuguese. We start to do another one in English. So I change a little bit the goal of the podcast. And I'm a father. I have 2 kids, and to manage everything is challenging, right?
Yeah,
Lots of
yeah.
things to do is very challenging.
I
And
bet. I bet.
yeah, but you have to do because I don't know. I talk with everyone. When usually people talk to me, say, "Man, how do you do lots of things?" You know, I think because when I moved to Canada, after maybe everything, I was kind of the lazy mode. I was like 2 years, three, just basically, I went to work. After work was just like watching TV. I was not even playing guitar. I
Oh,
2, 3 years. I just had 1 kid. I feel kind of come on, that's gonna do like I can do more. But the thing is, I'm 80. Like in Brazil, have this expression makes no sense in English, right? It's like 88 or 80, like means like okay, too soft or maybe too hard. And I like to do that because lots of things happen, right? Because the podcast brought me a huge network.
mm.
So I was able to interview like 5 police officers, and then I was able to interview the recruiters from like the police force in Toronto. And then we did an event together at the beginning of January because they want to recruit lots of Latin people. And
Mm.
then with audience, we try to help. Probably gonna happen another event on May or June because they still need our help. And lots of things, interesting things was like happened because of the podcast. So
Mm.
it's a therapy, guys, right? So we have been doing this
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah.
It's nice to meet people, to understand different realities, so to discuss lots of things that you don't know. Like, so it's amazing, it's incredible.
No, I
You-
think that. Oh, Joe, you can let me jump in there first. You already know Rodrigo. I only get an hour with him, and you can always talk. So
Go ahead.
I gotta bump in. I didn't even know too. He said that every time you bring these people up, you tell me about them, and then they instantly hit me in the mouth with these cool things. So jobs in Canada, I think that that's such an amazing thing, dude. With the way the global economy's set up, so many people aren't, they're not stuck to their home country or their home job anymore, right? They can seek out opportunities to grow themselves and their families. So when I hear about one of the things I personally struggled with, transitioning out of the military and finding work, right? And there wasn't a strong network to help people find opportunities. So to hear that you do that kind of work where people are trying to build a network and they want to look for opportunities somewhere or break out into a new space, I think that's such a commendable job. And I didn't even know that. I already thought you were cool playing guitar. You did a podcast, and now hearing us doing this amazing work, dude, that's awesome, friend. That's awesome.
Yeah, but Jeremy, this point you mentioned, you can mention, so you are American, right? So you're born there. So you have
Mm.
your friends from high school, for probably for university, friends that you like for the stuff that you like to do. You can imagine for people like from Brazil, they arrives in a completely different country. They
Yeah.
don't know everyone. Canadian market is far tougher to enter than the US.
Mm.
US the biggest market ever, right? So lots
Yeah,
of
yeah, that's true.
Canadian one is so hard to enter. And so to interview Brazilians that are able to become like a CEO or CFO or sometimes a director, it's amazing too, because
Yeah.
for sure was hard. All of them, all the work they had to do was insane hard to make. So it's nice to say, okay, it's good to show the possibility, right? For people that are in Brazil, say, see, it's hard. It is for sure. It is hard. It's not a lie for you, but it's possible.
Yeah.
People, so you can do it.
You gotta be determined and focused, right? And
Yeah.
you seem like
Yeah,
you
but
know the type.
Yeah.
Well, but on this topic of the podcast, because you are, I believe, around 130, 140 episodes already.
Oh
Right.
wow.
170.
170.
Wow.
Woo!
So, and it's once a week, like we are doing here, right? So you are like a few years already down the road. So how how is this process of getting it started and then
Yes.
getting the show established and getting this the community already and getting sponsorship also, so because you also have a few sponsors, right? So how this process
We're asking for friends. We're asking for
grew
a
up.
friend.
I don't know. Do you know how happened? It's interesting to tell the story, right? So basically, at the beginning of the how everything started, right? Basically, all after the pandemic, actually in the middle of the pandemic, in 2021, there was a guy. He came from Saskatchewan. He was coming here to Toronto, and he had a podcast, but he didn't know anyone. So he put an ad on Facebook. Said, do you want to be part of our show? Do you play guitar? Do you do anything? There, he basically was asking for, regardless of the person, people we don't know anyone. So please send a message. You'll be here in our show. And he had all the device, all the gear, everything that is necessary. So basically, I contacted him, and then my podcast was basically my intention was to tell everyone how hard was to me like to enter the Canadian market, even though like I had my MBA, like everything was tough. And there I like to the idea was to help. And then my podcast had the biggest audience there from his channel, like over 20K views. I remember the period. Then I started to help him do lots of stuff to him. Okay, I can go to the studio because it's nice. To do podcast is nice. And then like suddenly for like no reason he called me, said, Rodrigo, I need you. I said, okay, sure, let's do. Why? No, because I want to do a podcast in a volcano, active volcano in Iceland.
Wait, what?
Was like this, guys. Can you imagine to receive an invitation like that? Okay, I need you.
How come? To do what?
Let's go to Iceland to do a podcast in an active volcano. I said, okay, let's go in.
But hold on. What's the purpose of the podcast? Okay, let's do a podcast on a volcano, but what are you going to talk about?
Yeah, that's the thing.
My kind of guy.
We want to do the crazy thing because, come on, as you said, it's impressive, right? To go to the volcano, but he didn't plan very well.
It sounds like me, man. Yeah, Joe, let's do it. No plan.
Exactly this. He said, Rodrigo, you just pay your air ticket, and right, all the rest is gonna be covered by us. Don't worry. Okay, so I was there with them, and actually they're not prepared like this kind of adapter for outlets. They didn't bring anything. I brought lots of things, but come on, I can't. I go to Europe like very often. I know the kind of thing that you have to bring. They're not prepared. Even one of the guys, they went to the volcano with a tennis shoes. I said, do you know we're gonna do hiking a volcano? Like we're crazy, man. But anyway, we went there to the volcano. And basically, I was close to the volcano, basically recruiting people to do it. Because to go up close to the volcano is almost like 45 minutes. And people were impressed, right? When you try to see the volcano, they suddenly there was a guy with like a table, some chairs, and microphones doing a podcast close to the volcano. Basically, I was there recruiting. Hey, come here. Do you want to talk to us here just to talk about your experience here in the volcano? How's everything? And I was there recruiting people doing interview. It was a crazy interview. It was in Portuguese and English and Spanish. It was a mess. Crazy interviews all the time. So okay, anyway, when that was done, we come back to Canada and did everything. He moved his studio to downtown. And he said, Rodrigo, do you want to have your own podcast? Because his plan was to create lots of podcasts because he had all the gear, right? And then I said, okay, why not? Let's do my own podcast. So he helped us a lot at the beginning to create the previous logo, to do the YouTube channel, to do all this stuff. I spent with him for 3-4 months. And then we had different purposes, because of all my background, I'm very organized. And the way that he was doing was different. I said, man, and no, not possible to do. So I met with some partners. We decided to buy all the gear, all the things. And the podcast moved to my previous partner house. He had the basement, was completely empty. Oh. The studio was there for almost 1 year and a half. And then he bought a new house far from here. Joel probably knows, in Barrie. It's like 1 hour Toronto. I said, man, no way to do that. But at that time, we had some partners already, and one of our partners had an empty office. He said, "Oh, can you move your podcast there again, downtown Toronto?" It was okay, and then we have been there for I think we're gonna be 1 year now. Yeah.
That's a journey.
Yeah, that's a journey. That's a summary of our like story. Actually, the podcast came to me. It was not my goal. Okay, let's create a podcast. Like so basically, yeah. So
Well, that's so funny, man. How come someone wants to do a podcast from a volcano?
I can
This is so crazy, man.
It's on YouTube. I can send you after the show the link for you to watch. Crazy stuff.
I want to watch
Oh,
that.
definitely. I want to watch that. I want to watch that.
I want to come back to the volcano. I said this. I have one of my partners. He already going to provide me some funds to go. I need 2 more because this volcano. Okay, when it's volcano crazy, gonna blow a lot of things. But this volcano, I'm gonna say this is a kind of friendly volcano. It's weird to say that, right? But it's a chilled volcano, so it doesn't have the explosions as a regular stratovolcano, crazy stuff. So it's possible. Lots of people for US are going there to see the volcano, so you can come really close, and then suddenly eruptions happen. Right? I think last year, 3-4 months ago, lots of things happened in the soil. Like people had to move, and the lava was really close to the city. It's insane. Of course, it's dangerous. People say it's a lie, but it's not that dangerous to be to the other regular volcanoes. It's an interesting thing. I want to go there to do a proper podcast again. Let's plan.
There we go. Execute it. It's a little dangerous, but not too dangerous for a podcast. Got it. So.
Okay, Rodrigo. If you need a guest on your podcast in the volcano, you can invite me. I would be glad.
Well, it's an amazing experience. I really recommend. If I got the sponsorship again, because it's hard to convince. Okay, guys, come on, go to the volcano, please sponsor us. It's not easy. It's not an easy conversation.
Maybe if it's an insurance, if it's like an insurance company, maybe they'll sponsor you. You need life insurance? Here, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, that's a good slogan. Do you need life insurance? Are you going to a volcano? So here we are.
Oh, man, you gave me an idea. Okay, interesting.
There you go.
Yeah, okay, nice.
All right, send him a bill, Joe. Send him a bill after this. We got our first customer.
Yeah, so that's the good thing about talking to people, right? Because you were mentioning earlier on that you started and you wanted to hear from people and different perspectives. In a way, it's a little bit selfish, right? Because one of the reasons, and I was talking to a guy, back then when we were starting, why we were doing this, and I was saying, no, I'm not doing for the others. I'm doing for me because I want to talk to people like you, Rodrigo, and like many others, and learn from them. And then the guy looked at me, oh, so then it's a selfish purpose. And I thought, yes, it's selfish because I'm thinking on myself only. And I felt, to be honest, I felt bad at the moment. But yeah, in a way, it's for me, right?
Don't feel bad, man, because of the podcast, I was able to reach amazing people that will never have this possibility without the podcast. For example, 2 people that I interviewed was amazing. First was a very famous gamer in Brazil, is a BR Arcades Edu. He has more than 10 million followers on YouTube. And without even with the podcast, it was hard. Without the podcast, it would be impossible to talk to the guy like that. And the other guy was a very famous journalist in Brazil. He's expert in wars. And he part of lots of TV, very insane TV shows, even CNN, Brazilian CNN. He's part to analyze the wars or the perspectives in wars. Is the themes of the moment, right? Lots of wars happen in the world.
Yeah.
Who is he?
It's Vitelio Brustolin. Yeah, I had the chance to interview this guy. To me, man, was, oh my goodness, just because of the podcast. Can you imagine? He's a PhD at Harvard. He taught in Harvard.
Yeah.
Imagine how hard to be to talk with these guys. And there I was able to talk about a lot of things about, for example, how is the role of Canada in NATO, this kind of things, it
Yeah.
was so great. So unfortunately, the Portuguese didn't, but Joao can send a link. And that's the thing about the podcast, to reach this kind of people and to talk, to discuss. Of course, I because my podcast is not open that yours, right? I have to create something to make sense, right?
Right. So how
The
does
guy-
that look like, right? Because I mean, with us, right, we kind of just have these conversations over beer, like you would with your buddy after work. But when you, where's the? I know you mentioned guitar. Where does the music come in? Is it a pretty strong part of the podcast, or is it just a side hobby?
Yeah, actually, I have been playing guitar for 27 years.
Oh wow, okay, that's a skill.
Yeah. So I had several bands in Brazil. Then the thing is, when I met a guy here, I had some bands there here as well. But I met a guy that was a huge fan. Probably Joel know, Juninho Carelli. He's famous. He was like he has been elected the best keyboard player in Brazil for over 5 years. He's a monster.
Wow.
Anymore. I was a huge fan of him, and then he moved to Toronto. I basically met with him, and so I still like, even though he's my close friend today, right? We have been a lot of things together. I was, oh my goodness, you are here, man! So a huge fan, and we become friends. Like my wife become his wife friend as well, and he has a little girl, and I have two kids. So lots of things in common. We are two stupid guys who like stupid jokes, and kind of things. And then we decided to create a band. And then I invited him, right, to go to the podcast, and we interviewed the band on the podcast because he's our researcher. So that's when the music came to the podcast, right, to help also to understand the band. Our band is very focused on the Brazilian community right now.
Yeah.
We create like something for the 80s. And there was famous, something are not all famous because it was good. Some songs were famous because they're pretty bad. But
meme songs.
you let the songs to be a little bit heavier, and people enjoy these songs. And we play for the Brazilian community. But right now, we're gonna do the same thing, but for international, not Canadian, but for international perspective, right? To do some Madonna, Michael Jackson, to play a little bit heavier, and they're gonna be nice because we love the Brazilian community, right? We are Brazilians, but to do just events for the Brazilian community is a little bit. We have to do an event, wait for 2, 3, 4 months, then do a second one. If you do for a more like for the different like people, we're gonna be. Like we can play much more often than we're playing right now.
Man, so it's not just like something a little tiny piece. It's been part of your life for years. I love music. That's why I asked. Because
you play the drums too, right?
Oh no, nice. I mess around. I don't play it. I wish I did. I would. I wish I could, but no,
I thought you did.
No, see, that's because when I introduced people, my drum roll is so good. I got you. I tricked you. But no, I mean, I love music, right? I do more writing. I listen to a lot of music and I write more than anything. But someone who's done this for 27 years, we talked about it right before we kicked off the show. Nobody heard about it. But someone who's familiar with technology like us, what are you worried about with AI? You even said it. What was that? You were talking about some program before we kicked off the show, and you said last year it was garbage, and this year it's good. Can you tell me what your opinions are, given your music background, like with where AI is progressing and what you think about it?
Oh yes, for sure. AI for me, I'm a huge fan. I mentioned to you before, right? They started the show, but basically, I met a PhD during my MBA. He was trying to do like some Magna Carta, to like kind of rules to maybe try to control what's going to happen with AI. It was at very the beginning, like 2015, 16, and then like the thing. For sure, and when everything started to happen, like ChatGPT is, oh my goodness, now it's live. It's so nice, and everything started. And then when I'm still curious, right? But the thing is, I don't think I can follow on the path of these AIs are coming. It's insane, it's impossible because I like to do one with pictures. And then like the ones to change the voice, the ones who create songs. And then when I start to use Suno, for example, it's amazing for create your own music was garbage. The beginning, oh my god, this is so bad. Never gonna reach a musician. Then after 6 months, I said, oh my goodness. And 2 months ago was crazy. You can mix your own songs. I create like some a piece of a song, like 10 seconds. Then I just upload. He was able to finish a song just with 20.
Really?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Wow.
And put
Yeah.
vocals, and you can do whatever you want. People are changing, for example, you like Iron Maiden, you give the information how to sing things like he sings, right? For the AI, you are able to put his voice a completely different song. Everything's become, come on, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You have
Can
to,
I-
some
so
people are against that, you know. I don't think they are against it. Man, it's
well, being
far.
against it doesn't help much because you cannot control, you cannot stop. But let me ask you this: I was watching an interview from Post Malone, and he was talking about this AI generation, right? And he was saying that the industry, the music industry, is moving to a place where, like, not you guys, but yeah, like someone likes Post Malone, right? And then they want a personalized song
Mm.
from Post Malone. So, of course, Post Malone's not going to write personalized songs for every individual, but an AI can. So, this person is going to subscribe to a service and then request the song, and they would say, "Oh, I'm sad today because I broke up with my girlfriend, so can you write me a song about this?" And then Post Malone AI will write that, right? And that's,
Probably the song will be really good.
well, yeah, I bet it will, but like, how dangerous is that for the industry itself? Because you, like, what's your opinion on that?
It's complicated right now. I had these discussions when I come back to Boston, right, to my university. I also had this discussion with some friends. They believe it's basically, to be really honest, I don't have an opinion about that. It's still, I don't know. But when people said, basically, was the guy that is really good. You can imagine it like an artisan. This is the guy who do very specific things, the really good ones. They still gonna be his own value, right? And this artificial intelligence is much more general, you know. I'm not sure if I agree with that or not, because the songs today that we can call like plastic songs, you know, is very similar to another one. I don't know. I think
Valid.
it's a challenge, you know. Like the same thing, people like you can. I like to do this comparison. You know, 100 years ago, people used to go like to go in horses, right? And then automobile appears, people complain, no, this automobile is gonna destroy it. I don't have my horse anymore. And nowadays nobody goes horses just like for fun, right? It's a different thing. So it's the way you have to adapt, you have to create means. You're gonna ask what are these means? I have no idea. We are to see how gonna happen, how people are gonna enjoy. For example, one thing that I'm happy right now is seems to be our new platform for songs. I just heard about kind of Spotify, but it's different, just for rock music. And the idea is to pay more for the artists, you know, and it's gonna allow some artificial intelligence there as well, because Spotify sometimes they complain because I create an album, you know, a full album with artificial intelligence. I don't know, 6 months they didn't allow me to upload. They asked me
Really?
to. I said yes, is AI? And he said
Mm-mm.
no, you can't. I said okay, but I was honest because if I could lie, if I lied, they had no way to realize there was no way. So I don't know. It's very complicated. I'm still figuring out. The thing it is, I try to do my best to understand, to use the tools, and to see how it's gonna be good for us. As you said, Joe, you cannot deny. Okay, this is bad. Okay, so future is
But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's all on how people leverage it, though. Because I mean, when I hear you mention like I can talk to Spotify and it knows all of the artists out there, and I can kind of fine tune and create a song. You know, I work for an organization that's very sticky about their data, right? They don't want other people capitalizing or monetizing off their data. And when it comes to a company like Spotify, you got to worry about survival and product marketability. what's to say that as those people come through and Joe, after his dog dies and he has to get Post Malone to sing him a crybaby song so he feels better, then who owns that song once it's produced? Does Spotify own that? And do they own the algorithm? Can they then make money? And at what point do they say, hey, I appreciate everything you've done for us, but as an artist and your guitar, we don't need you anymore because you want a little bit too much. But I'm still going to give them access to what I was trying to think of a way to like flip the letters in your name around instead of Rodrigo or Alejandro or something, right? They'll do something crazy, and then now you're out, but some AI is playing your style of music, right? So it's such a thin slope, and I'm more worried about the artists and the people buying it because nowadays we have these disclaimers and you just scroll through and you click accept because you want people to listen to your music and what are you giving away, right? So I love it, but I'm worried. I'm worried for the artist.
Yeah, but artists already they don't receive basically nothing with Spotify, right? Because they don't pay properly. People, I think the artists will survive the way it is today from like live concerts. That's the thing. Or other thing to just realize a couple of weeks ago. For example, you have the copyright. For example, let's use an example. Guns N' Roses, like they released like album 90s, but probably the copyrights don't belong to them, belong to the like recording company who did, right? What people are doing right now to kind of work around this, they are same people that recorded this album, exactly the same musicians. They will go to the studio and record again, like 20, 30 years ago. And then you can sell this album. You can sell the vinyl things. You can do live concerts, and then you can sign. And lots of people are doing that. Is the new way? I just gave this example. People have to create alternatives to earn money again. It's gonna be hard.
Okay,
let's work around.
That reminded me of a follow-on question. Do you mind, Joe? Can I follow up with
another thought? Course, man.
Go ahead. I think that there will be differentiators, right? The artists that are able to buy into these concepts, and then they put their money to work for them. So they're like, I can't write them a song, but I'm gonna sign over a likeness, and I'm gonna get a price every time somebody builds a song with my Post Malone music. So I think that there are good ways that we can do this. But my follow-on question, I see that you're on the gravy train, right? You love AI. I use it. I use it almost every other day. I think there's some cool benefits to it. Are you going to use it in the future to write your music?
100%.
100%.
I'm doing that. It's a good question because tomorrow I start my new band. Okay. The idea is going to do some heavy metal cover, Nightwish, because I did that in the past. But the idea of this band is to create some music, right? But the keyboard player, as me, we like to do like experiments on Suno. I say Suno because the two that I'm using, probably there are others that I don't know. And we both have the same thing. Ain't going to speed up a lot. To create a song, stuff. We can create the idea, and then we send to Suno, explain him like we're going to stop our process. I say, this is not. People are going to compare. This is not a real song. I don't think so.
Yeah, because art's it's subjective, right? Art's subjective. I mean, why I love this. Go, Joe. Sorry, I'm going to grab a beer.
Yeah. So on this topic, this is not a song. I would ask, okay, how many developers are out there asking ChatGPT, write me a code that do this? So is that a code or isn't, right? So I would say it's the same thing, right? It's creative CI, creative intelligence, right? Or whatever. So I would say it's the same thing.
Yeah, for example, you said this about ChatGPT. I'm not a developer, right? But when I started my company, they had lots of fines because I work with compliance on the email. This Outlook email has more than 600 fines there. And I said, come on, I have to open these emails, go one by one, put an Excel databases. No way. I went to ChatGPT, I explained him the situation very as clear as I could, and he created Excel program, VBA, to be able to go to Outlook, remove everything for me, put an Excel that could work. this helps a lot. You just have to use this in favor of you. The same thing with music. Okay, I could like take a while to write a music, but I can do some stuff and then I like do other part of the song. And then if I don't like it, it's not my idea. It was different in my brain. I think speed up the things. Even to write an email, guys, after the chat GPT, don't know. Even though okay, I have a good level of English, I had my MBA, a lot of things, but I'm not a native speaker. Why are you gonna risk to send an email with a different understanding? I just go to ChatGPT, say improve this thing here, that's my goal. I ask, this a good tone, too aggressive? No, give a moderate. Why are you gonna risk? If I have a tool, you gonna do for me for free? No way. You
Hmm.
know, there's
I
no
think
point.
that there'll be, you already see it, right? There's literally YouTube channels. You can go to YouTube, and there's literally YouTube channels, and the whole thing that they do is like generative AI videos. It'll be like Harry Potter if he was a redneck and he lived in a trailer park, and it's like a song, and they just made this song, and there's a music video of Harry Potter dressed in flannel flying a broom around a trailer park, and so I think that the fact that you're considering even using it as maybe like a foundation of your band, right, is like, hey, how can we leverage this to make some music that is something new, right? I think that's a brilliant idea.
But
Oh, Joe
it's
disagrees.
brilliant. It's brilliant to some extent and to some period of time because see, this is what I like these conversations because if we extrapolate this way of thought,
Yeah.
right? So we use AI to help us to create something, right? So and then next year we do it again, the next year we do it again. So at some point the AI will helping us will be happy. Sorry, the beer is already the AI will be helping us to create something based on many other iterations of that you know process. So at which point it
Mm.
is going to be just more of the same. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
let me expand on this point, Joe. I got a perfect point. You guys have access to type in something to Google right now?
Oh
Real
yeah.
quick? Yeah,
Yeah.
so I want you guys both to go in and type just this one sentence into Google because I like cameras, right? So I
Okay.
want you to type in when is the next FX3? It's a camera like Foxtrot, Echo, I mean X-ray 3. When is the next
F
FX3 coming out?
X coming
NFX3.
Yeah. Now, when you type
2025.
now, did you get a blurb? Do you get a nice blurb? Does it show you like it says the FX3 is coming and it's like giving you like a little rundown?
Yeah.
Now, if you look, there's a little link where it gives you that blurb, right? It shows you almost like a source link in the first line. And it's a little
Mhm.
thing that you can click on, but this is what I want to call attention to. So you just told me it's coming out in 2025 based off this information. But if you
Mhm.
click the link of where it's sourced from, it shows you 2 YouTube videos.
Mm.
Both of those YouTube videos are generative AI videos. So it's giving us information and answering our questions based off information it pulled from the internet that was generated by AI, isn't even
Right.
actually factual. So this is kind of like your
Wow.
problem, Joe, right? Like we're in a situation where like it's feeding itself. So I'm looking for the FX3 information. I think I've got it. It's giving me sources, but the sources were just generated from AI and somebody with a faceless YouTube channel put it out there.
What is
No,
the true then, right?
no,
Sorry,
but
Roger, go ahead.
people could do that, right? Even before the AI, they
Mhm.
could create like some fake information, like this is
Hmm.
iPhone, I don't know, 20, and provide lots of bullshit. And then also, I don't know how to do that. Like Google maybe could get information because fake. I think maybe I understand the points are very relevant, but maybe it's not the how the internet it is. Lots of fake things, crazy stuff, like information. The AI just gonna maybe potentialize this kind of things. They're not gonna be even worse. But I understand the point. It is yeah.
It's interesting to think about, right? The if you extrapolate that out, right, it's called the dead internet theory. It's because just bots are creating actually all the content too. Like everything out there isn't actually human made; it's just bot made or regurgitated from more bots consuming it. So I think that what you guys both said is valid, right? I think that like you're leveraging generative AI for the music spot, but like Joe says, if you're not using it to do all of the work, but you take it, you refine it as an actual seasoned guitarist, and you say, "Hey, that's not what a song would sound like. You got to put some and then you spice it up, feed it back in, and say, "Hey,
That's
what's?"
not,
And then I think that maybe that helps, right? And that keeps some of the humanity back in the data. But I mean, these are valid points. I'm glad to hear you're using it, though. I love. We have people both say, some people like they hate the tech, right?
don't know, true hate. I like the way Joe said at the very beginning. It's like true hate. It sounds to me like when I was a child and my grandpa was complaining about cell phones. There's this garbage. So I don't want to be this kind of old guy. I getting old. I want to be the guy who accept the change in the society because it's not gonna be like it was before. The society are changing. You don't have cannot change. No, guys, let's avoid.
Hey, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Alex had a comment though. Did you see that, Joe? That's such a valid point.
Oh,
though.
by the way, Alex is my wife.
Hey, beautiful. I can't see the picture. Like if I saw the picture, I would have known. But she had a valid question nonetheless, though.
But you know what? Because she barely seen our show, and then last episode that we were with Andrea, Rodrigo, Andrea is our friend from the group.
Right.
Yeah, and he was on the show a couple of weeks ago, and then his wife was on the show, and I was poking my wife. See, his wife was watching us, and you know what? So today she decided, okay, let me watch.
It might be her bot. She might have got a bot to type for her. She got GPT to type for her.
But yeah, no, I agree with what she's saying.
Yeah, no, that's a fact, right? There's she mentioned in the chat. She said, what about unlearning things, right? That children or even adults, I've seen this where they said literally AI in certain scenarios are making people dumber, like for coders and developers, right? If they're able to solve some complex problems. There was something Russ, one of our padres, if you will, he typed about this fact that like as a developer, when you're building solutions and applications as a junior developer, you spend hours just going through the troves of data online. How do I solve this SQL problem, right? Or what is this web error that I've never seen before? But as you're building and troubleshooting, it's teaching you things, right? You're learning. And when you're just able to kind of generative AI type it, you don't get that experience and it build stuff. Now in the breaks, we'd maybe have unlearned some of that ability to support it. So it's such a balance. I don't, our little 8 brains, I don't know if we're ready to handle all this.
I understand your point, but I believe, for example, my ability, my skill to write an email now is getting every day worse because I really don't care how I'm gonna give a prompt to ChatGPT. Of course, I read after to make sense, right? But the way that I write there, regardless the output, I just go change a little bit. But for sure, it's getting worse because I using that. But man, you cannot go like against technology because the evolution of humanity. It doesn't make sense. The same people, okay, let's stop buying cars, let's come back to horses. You have to adapt.
Exactly.
You have to adapt. Yeah.
There's a famous picture. I think it's in New York or somewhere in the States that they are having this parade in a point in time. So everything is horses and the wagons, the horses pulling the wagons, and there's one car, right? And 10 years later, there's another picture, and everything else is replaced by cars. So there's no horses whatsoever. So if you go against, you're going to be the horses, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we have to embrace it, regardless if we like or not. Otherwise, we are going to be the horses.
Yeah. The challenge is to figure out the ways to adapt. Exactly. For example, I totally agree with this. People are become lazy. Yeah, because they have tools, they're gonna do stuff for 100%. Maybe the developers are also become lazy, right? Because I can create the codes. Totally valid the argument, but is that guys you're gonna do? Don't have an option. It is that, and now we're just the beginning. You can imagine this conversation in 3, 4 years. I'm gonna be insane. I have no idea what's gonna happen, but pretty sure they're gonna be even more sophisticated, more automated. You know, a lot of things can happen. I have no idea. Until the beginning, and see how fast it is compared to ChatGPT at the beginning. It was like beginning of 2022, right? I believe on December when they released, maybe a little bit before. How it is today, how the pictures are, how soon it is.
Yeah.
And this, no, we don't have option
Yeah,
now.
no, I even, you know where I saw this, I even put it in my speech in Vegas, right? When I talked about it, I said like trying to skip generative AI is like trying to skip electricity, saying like, yeah, no, I'll skip this one. I'll wait till the next invention. Like you'll be gone. You'll be gone. And it's like the reason it's so fundamentally different than everything before it, right? And I try to explain this to people. The reason it's so fundamentally different than everything, not just like in tech, but in our existence, is because up until generative AI, we just built things that existed. We were the master inventor. We were the master creator. We created and we built stuff. This is the first time in our timeline, in our evolutionary timeline, where that stopped and we've built something that now outcreates us. Never in history have we done that. Now we've built something that outcreates us, it out-innovates us, and it does this better than we do. And I don't think, you know, our little brains, it's like we're in the middle of it right now. All three of us are in the middle of it. And everybody's kind of like you said, some people are about it. They're like, I'm going to stay as a horse. I don't need to be a car. But it's that fundamentally different, right? We've created something that's now the master inventor.
But
And
is it the master inventor indeed? You know,
yes.
Well, I don't know.
The
man.
the reason I say this, Joe, is because let me give you one example. You know those little the inflatable dolls at the used car dealership where like you know they use generative AI and computer vision to examine how those things move, and generative AI was able to recognize some underlying physics that are happening with those things that our science currently doesn't understand. There's existing physics that are happening, and something as simple as this thing that we don't even know, right? And so I do think like you got to imagine the little jumps that we've done from Will Smith eating the pasta to where it's at now. Like that's just the baby steps, like where this is gonna go. So if you're asking me, I might be premature. You know, it's not here yet, but where is it gonna hit? Yes, this will be the master creator. It'll be a master inventor. It's gonna It's gonna give us the ability to do stuff that we would have never been able to do.
Yeah, but now you reach a point that exactly the main reason that I went to Boston to discuss with the PhD. There was a neuroscience PhD there. Is about the conscious. You know, that discussion major like it's possible to AI create conscious. We had a huge discussion. What is conscious? And what is conscious? It's not defined even for the neuroscience. They still don't know what to have conscious.
Oh, we've talked about that in previous episodes. I'm aware of that too. We can't explain it scientifically.
Exactly. They still don't know what is to have conscious. And then basically it is if you create something that are able to be like do this stuff by yourself, then we are done. If these things happen. But you still don't know, right? Some people say this is impossible. Some people say that it's possible.
Yeah. But Jeremy, you were a little bit contradicting yourself because at some point you said no, this is our new creator, and then this can be a creator. But one thing that I want to give one example.
Yeah.
So just last weekend, I was working on something, and I was working. I don't know, Rodrigo, if you know Power Platform, Power Automate, but it's the Microsoft automation tool. And I was doing something, and I wanted to essentially to call an API, get the return, and write an email with a table, right, with some lines.
Yep.
And I asked ChatGPT, okay, help me to create this workflow. And ChatGPT gave me the overall steps. And I was doing it, and it was failing. Because the last step, I was trying to write an email with 5 lines because I was filtering 5 lines, and it was failing all the time. Eventually, after a couple of hours, I I understood that actually in the beginning, for some reason, the retrieve was returning 4 lines instead of 5. And then when I was trying to write the email, it was trying to write 5 lines and it didn't have 5 lines. So it was failing.
Mhm.
But the ChatGPT didn't know that. So the ChatGPT was trying to come up with all sorts of ideas to fix the code, but the code was right. What was wrong was the data,
Okay.
Yeah.
right? So even though ChatGPT is far more smarter than I, it couldn't find the issue.
But you could, for example, in my case, when not exactly the same situation, when I was there, I was having a problem with Power Query. My Power Query was failing a lot. And they are asking them, what's the possible reasons that my Power Query is failing, it's not working? And then he gave me like, I don't know, 3, 4 possibilities. Then I checked it one by one, and then he was right.
Oh,
And one,
oh, Joe, you don't know how to use
It
the
happens
agent.
too.
No, he does
It happens.
operator error.
Oh,
No.
I'm not saying ChatGPT is not right all the time.
No,
I'm saying
Yeah.
it can fail.
Yeah.
It can.
you're
fail.
right.
Okay.
You're right. But
that's
my,
no music. Now it's better. But in the beginning, when you ask, okay,
There
give
you
me
go.
all the notes for a mayor, he was garbage. Now is better.
yeah, that was gonna be my response to his query, right? Was that the reason that happened to you and why you experienced that is because you're dealing with version 1 of Will Smith with the pasta, right? It don't make it looks absolutely ridiculous, and you know that doesn't look like Will Smith eating pasta, but it doesn't know. And now it looks like you can't really tell the difference whether he's eating the pasta or not. And eventually, your code and the applications that'll give back to you, it'll do that. The problem, I think, is still agentics, right? It's still the way that the robots kind of work, and how dumb they are currently. But eventually, all of those systems will be smart. So that's the reason you're working with version 1. When we get to version 20, it's going to be no
But-
problem.
But this guys goes to the discussion about the prompt. To write the prompt properly is a new job.
Oh, so
Yeah.
I have a big debate about that, right? Too, because I saw a lot of people proposing that early, and to me, the easiest solution around this is if you look at Microsoft's senior agent and LLM researcher, right? They're aware of the barrier for people getting solid outputs from LLMs and interaction. It's follow up and context on behalf of the agent. It needs to know more of what we are trying to explain because we think we intuitively expect someone to kind of have some context or to quickly get it. When these bots don't have it, it's like single shot, one shot. They're already working in that. We won't even have to be good and prompt engineers because the bots are going to get good. They're going to say, wait a minute, Rodrigo, I know you said you wanted this song, but could you at least tell me whether you wanted it in C# or A minor? What's the and it's going to say, can you give me a little bit more? And so these kind of collaborations will get us to a state to where you get a much better output. And the people building these tools, they're aware of that. They're aware of the way that the model exists currently isn't the most sophisticated. But again, versions 1, you got to think, I think about this in the terms of Industry 5, the full convergence of everything autonomous. All of these are evolving so quickly in their own channels. Like sometimes you miss it, right? But they're going to come together. It's going to be wild.
I like to for example, my wife, she started to use like ChatGPT like a couple of months ago. And usually people who don't know, I just say, pretend it's a person, talk to them.
There you
For
go.
example, when I
That's
start to
smart.
talk and say, okay, I want to do, I don't know, maybe a copy thing for something that I want to write on Instagram for, like, I don't know, post. Then I start, okay, I have a podcast. My podcast is in Canada. I'm Brazilian. I write for the company in Brazil. I explain him the thing, right? I'm training him. Okay, I have this amount of podcasts, and my goal now is to create a post on Instagram with this goal. When you provide lots of information, the output is much better.
There you go.
Yeah. You give the context, right? The context grounding for the model, so then it can better answer you. But hey, one thing that I am holding myself to bring it up for a little while, because we are talking about AI and all those things, and there's new tools every day. And on the group that Rodrigo and I are a member of. Actually, Rodrigo is the administrator. He's the manager on the group. I'm just a simple member.
Plebe, yeah.
I'm a recruiter. I like to recruit people out there.
Yeah. So a few weeks ago, someone posted a picture. As I said earlier, these are headbangers. People that love metal. They go to the concerts and they love. Man, some folks go every weekend. It's amazing.
Oh, really? They're down there.
And then they
3 days a week.
It's crazy. And they post the picture. So a few weeks ago, someone went to a concert and posted a picture with someone from the band, and then right after that there was a video. The two guys started moving, and then all of a sudden they started kissing each other. And I thought, this can't be right. This can't be right. And then
they done this all the time, man. They made kids on my band. The drummer, the player.
So yeah. I noticed, right? Very shortly after that it was a tool, and it was creating the video based on the picture, right?
Oh my God, that's so funny.
And all sorts of videos then started coming up. So there's the kissing, there's the fighting, there's
different options.
Yeah.
The Unbeliever is a really good example, because a couple of months ago I tried that, because I like to do this kind of jokes with I have other groups or Brazilian ones. And then when you make the kiss, first of all, we're looking right to when you have to move to kiss, it was completely different person. It was not perfect. It was really bad. It's clear there was not the same person. But now, no, man. In 2-3 months, now I don't know how they do. It's still not perfect, but much better than it was before.
Yeah.
If you don't know, like you cut, you can remove the watermark from there, and you send for people that are used to this. You go, oh my goodness, really, what's happening?
Well, that was my thought, my initial thought when I saw
what's going on.
When I saw the first time. Oh my God, is this true? What is happening here?
Oh my God.
I think it was Enrique. I think it was a picture from Enrique in one of his shows that he went, and he was with this guy, and then they started kissing.
Have you guys seen there's an article on the news recently? There's this video of Donald Trump kissing Elon Musk's feet. He's like sitting in the president's office, and Trump's like kissing his feet. And they said they're like, dude, we're gonna file charges against you. Isn't that crazy? Like, bro, you just create stuff. Everybody knows it's fake, but then you can,
But I think even yesterday, right? I think Trump posted on X something about Gaza, like Strip.
Yeah.
They made it as well.
Yeah. A new paradise, a new whatever he calls it, but yeah.
That's crazy.
A new Gaza, yeah.
Man, generative AI it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. It's getting really good. I can't wait. I need to go try. I'm kind of mad because I have a Pika art subscription. They do like video and stuff, but my subscription renewed, and now I got it for a whole year, and I got to figure out, Joe, we got to find some ways to use the podcast.
You have like several tools, like I pay a couple of them. I pay Moses for like music is good because you remove the tracks. It's good to practice.
I want to link with you on that.
Moses is good. I also pay for the pictures because I like to do like space stuff. I create a planet, a pink planet with crazy stuff. It's so beautiful that they like, and my kids also like. I pay because of that to create these crazy things. Also, my background, like picture here, is like crazy stuff.
Dude, I think so. There's this thing, like everybody's heard of like ASMR, right? Where the sounds and stuff that are relaxing. They have something very similar called fractals, and it sounds like kind of what you're saying, where you can create these geometrical shapes that kind of morph into things. And for some reason, like people love that. I've been thinking about starting a YouTube video, just trying to not waste my subscription. So going and creating these little videos and stringing them together and then posting them like these guys are doing. See what hits.
And people are making lots of money with that.
See, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like trying to see what hits.
Yeah, why not, right? Yeah.
Joe, we've kept Rodrigo a full hour. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Do you have any burning questions? I could talk to this dude all night, but what do we?
Man, that's the point. We could talk for another couple of hours at least. But yeah, he was.
You can do it again, guys, all the time. It's a pleasure. We focus today on artificial intelligence, but next time we can talk about career, about music, whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to talk to you. Yeah, let's do it.
Music
In my podcast. I'm gonna have lots of
yeah, music's my cup of tea. Even though I am not a musician, I barely play the drums, but I love music. And I would love to spend hours and hours talking about music. But yeah, I know we are on the top of the hour, and almost a full hour. And I know Rodrigo still has to vote today because today is voting day here in Ontario, Canada. So we have the election. He has until 9 p.m. So now it's almost 8:15 p.m. So
he's got to go. Did you get arrested?
We need to
there?
release him.
No, I live close to the place, but just one point about the music you mentioned. I'm not sure if you know, Joe, you probably know because you're not on Instagram. I went to the heavy metal cruise, the biggest one in the world, 70K tons of metal. There was in Miami every year, like they live from Miami to Caribbean. This year was Jamaica. It was great, and now I'm addicted. I go there every year because it was amazing. Lots of bands, 60 bands play twice. You are able to meet like your artists there. Oh, it's so nice. I love this. Really. That's now is my goal. Every year I go to this cruise. It's so amazing. If you like metal, of course you have to like because it has to be.
That's true.
I am in the group, so I love it.
It's very expensive in compared to a regular cruise. It's like 5 times more expensive than a regular cruise, but worth each penny. Go there for sure.
Nice.
Experience, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go to the cruise, but man, I would love to have you back in the show somewhere in the future. It was so awesome conversation. I was so looking forward for this, and I got everything that I was expecting from this conversation. And with that taste of, I want it again. So that's for sure, man.
Well, thank you.
What do you think,
guys? Yeah, you are also on this insight. You are the tech guys. For me, it's a pleasure to talk because you are part of that, right? Of this change. So yeah, it's so nice to have this conversation with you. So it will be my pleasure. Also, Jeremy, I have a new podcast. I don't know if you came to Canada, but if you came here, we'll start to work in this different podcasts for people here, so it'll be a pleasure to have you there in the studio as well. So.
We're gonna plan it because I'm already planning to get down and visit Joe sometime, so we'll work it all out. I got a camera and stuff. I love to shoot videos. We'll make a whole thing out of it, man. We'll make some episodes. We'll make a podcast and shit. We might even make some music, right? With all 3 of us. Oh, beautiful. Awesome. Hey, I love this dude. Hey, so much, Joe. I'm gonna go. Next time we have him, which we will have him again, I'm gonna have a song. I'm gonna have a surprise. I'm gonna generate a song. So.
Awesome.
Right. Let's do it. Yeah, that's nice.
All right.
Awesome. Rodrigo, thank you very much, man. It was a pleasure to have you here, and man, can't wait to have you back again.
Yep. Thank you so much, Rodrigo. Thank you, gentlemen. We are out. Another one in the book. We're not at 170, but this is 30, and we're gonna catch you, Rodrigo. I might have to break your leg. We're gonna All right, this was sick. I love it. What a blast.